From Pod World headquarters, this is the Carolina Insider from Learfield.
We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider. Jones and Adam here with you for a very special edition of the show. Adam, what's up?
It's a very, 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 very special edition.
So, if you've been with us over the last several years, you know, particularly this time of year, we'll do some Roadhouse challenges. And we like to do what we have TM'd, so don't you try to take it. Tar Heel Throwback. We've gone back to games from the 80s, the 90s. We've watched Carolina Duke. We've seen the Florida State come back. We learned that Harrisonburg was Ralph Sampson's home. All kinds of things that we have learned during our Tar Heel Throwback. So, Adam, for this particular Tar Heel Throwback, we thought we would go all the way back to April 2nd, 2022. Tar Heels and Duke in the Final Four. Are you ready?
Remember the fashions of that era?
Pleated pants and... So, before we do it, I want to remind you that we are brought to you, as always, by LS Tractor. Whether you need to mow it, till it, or move it, let LS Tractor help make short work of it. And you can visit lstractorusa.com to learn more. LS Tractor, now you can do more for less. Also brought to you by our friends at UNC Health, dedicated to caring for champions of all kinds and to help keep you in the game and at your very best. You can see their lineup at unchealthcare.org/sports. Fired up. We're heading back to early April 2022. Carolina Duke in the Final Four.
Heart the sound of Tar Heel voices.
Carolina fever's got me.
It's everywhere. Tar Heels. There is no cure for Carolina fever, so let's play ball. Go Tar Heels.
Adam, normally in this spot in our throwbacks, we look back to see what the top movies and TV shows and music was of the time. But since we're only talking a couple weeks ago, we didn't feel like that would be needed in this particular instance.
That was back when Taylor Swift was big.
Remember The Weeknd? So we didn't think we needed to play any, Doja Cat for you here.
Any more so than usual.
Right. So what we thought we'd do
is put the full radio broadcast out here.
Finally.
Let's do it. Is that going to be on here for real?
Well, we'll have some radio calls on here, yes.
So I have to email you to get the full radio
Yes. Please email Adam directly. So, Adam, since we still have a lot of great stories from people about their Final Four experiences, we thought we'd sneak one in here before we get started.
A scene setter.
Yeah. Well, and then I also want to then carry that over to what you and I were doing before the game started.
Okay.
But we'll start first with a story.
Yep.
From Micah Brighton. And let's get Mr. Goosehonkers fired. Rare that you get Mr. Goosehonkers on a throwback episode, but here we are.
Or so early in a show.
Yeah. But let's get Mr. Goosehonkers fired up because Micah's story. He has a friend named Ethan who makes an important appearance in this story. Micah's story starts like this. Micah is a 2020 UNC grad. Grew up in Charlotte and had a friend named Ethan. See, I told you. You now know everything you need to know about Micah. Grew up in Charlotte, 2020 Carolina grad, has a friend named Ethan.
To be fair, don't most people who grew up in Charlotte probably have a friend named Ethan?
Or Porter, Barron. I went to UNC. Ethan went to Clemson.
Wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, little twist. Last year, Ethan ended up working for the Duke football team on their social media team. After Carolina beat St. Peter's, Ethan informed me he might be able to get tickets to the game in New Orleans and asked if I'd be interested in going. I originally thought it might be difficult to make it work with my job, but you know what? How many chances is Micah going to get? He told the man to shove it and said that he would indeed be interested in going to the game. Every day, Ethan told me that we should be hearing sometime that day whether or not they got the tickets.
Also, Ethan said, Micah, can you send me your credit card number, your social security number, and your mother's maiden name?
Yeah, what's your favorite pet's name?
Any day, I'm going to let you know if we got the tickets.
Every day, no news. Micah says perhaps the Duke athletic department was too busy filming Trevor Keels doing the Cascada dance to ensure that their own employees got tickets to New Orleans. On Thursday, Ethan informed me he would not be receiving tickets and no longer could take me. Good job, Ethan.
Seems kind of harsh to tell them 48 hours before.
Yeah.
To just then tell Ethan, oh, sorry, Ethan, you thought you were getting tickets, but you're not.
Mike had quit his job for this.
Like I had to go back into the boss's office. Remember when I threw down my resignation on your desk and told you all the things I hated about you? That was really more hypothetical.
I was going through some things at the time. No big deal, says Micah. I had made a contingency plan to meet some alumni friends in Chapel Hill, visit the basketball museum, and then gather to watch the game. However, on Friday morning, I look at my phone and had a voicemail from Ethan informing me he had just found out that he had indeed gotten tickets.
It's a roller coaster in the Duke ticketing department.
Ethan sounds like the kind of guy who would leave you a voicemail instead of just texting you, too.
When is the last time you listened to an actual voicemail?
Micah, hey, it's Ethan. About those tickets. Okay, so I think I do have the tickets now. If you'd like to call me back, just give me a ring on my cell phone. That's the best number to reach me.
For real, when's the last time you listened to a voicemail?
Oh, I as we've talked about before, I just look at the transcription, and if it doesn't make sense, I just delete it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Micah called Ethan back, quickly discovered that he even had an extra ticket, and if Micah had another friend, he could bring him. So he called another fellow Tar Heel, a loyal pod listener, Spencer, what up, who was literally boarding a train in D.C. to come down to Raleigh. I asked if he wanted to come, and he just took that train right into Charlotte. I feel like Micah and Ethan and Spencer are living different lives than I live, Adam. They're taking trains. They're leaving voicemails.
Sir, this is your stop. I'm going straight on to Charlotte. No, really, your ticket says Raleigh. Take me to Tavola Road. Does this train go there, or do I need to switch? Is that how it works? The train just keeps going down the eastern seaboard?
Yep. It's right there on the track, wherever the tracks take you.
I've decided to go to Savannah.
On to Tallahassee. Okay.
Look, Ethan, you can count on Ethan for this. He will get you either 0, 1, or 2 tickets to the biggest game in college basketball history.
Maybe 0. You may be able to bring a friend. He will tell you 20 hours before the game tips off.
Look, you won't even be at your train stop when you find out whether or not you're actually invited.
Okay. All right, let's get things back together here.
Choo-choo, baby, I'm going to Charlotte.
With no hotel booked or any real plans, we woke up at the crack of dawn on Saturday morning and drove down to New Orleans from Charlotte, where, of course, we know Spencer has met them. About 6 hours in, Ethan informed us the tickets had still not been delivered. Eventually, though, the tickets came in, but the drive through rural Alabama was intense for a while. Can you imagine? Mike is sitting there going, Ethan, if these tickets don't come in, bro, and I quit my job, and Spencer took the train to Charlotte, none of this works out. We're going to have some words.
Well, it's 11 hours and 7 minutes from Charlotte to New Orleans driving. That's with no traffic. 714 miles. They woke up and just did it Saturday morning. What time do you think they left?
It had to be like 6 in the morning, right? You can't.
It says the crack of dawn. The first game there started at 5:30, right?
I don't know if I cared about Villanova and Kansas. Come on. Okay. All right. We get to New Orleans, enjoy some previous festivities, and find our seats in the stadium. After the first game thrashing, we begin to see the seats fill up around us. Ethan, being a Duke employee, obviously couldn't be seen with some guys wearing Carolina gear, so he found a seat next to a fellow Duke employee, who, by the way, ended up being a cool guy and also a Tar Heel fan. So are these tickets just general admission?
Several things I don't understand about this. What happens if they see you next to a guy wearing a Carolina shirt? Are they like, I'm sorry, we're going to need to see you on the 6th floor of the tower? We've got some stern words for you.
Well, I think this sums it up. As the seats around us fill, Spencer and I notice we are not only in a Duke fan section, but the section for employees of Duke who were all familiar with each other. So I guess I could see that. Like if you were getting some in the Tar Heel employee section and all of a sudden there are a bunch of Duke fans there, I could see that you would be.
Well, but what are you going to do?
Right. I mean, it's not like you're getting kicked out. The game starts.
Unless you're Spencer and you're just sitting in random seats.
The game starts. We excitedly celebrate the early Leaky Black three-pointer, which earned us some dubious looks from surrounding Duke fans. We looked at each other and realized we might need to tone it down a bit being in enemy territory. But the guy next to Spencer, an older gentleman and his wife, quickly told us not to hold ourselves back and enjoy the moment. What a hashtag so classy play by that guy. He's seen a few games in his time, Adam.
Well, we're going to find out why.
He ended up being a UNC fan.
Boom, there we go.
He even called Mark Williams missing both of the free throws late in the game. We were thankful to have an ally in enemy territory.
What % of the Duke section, employee section, was Carolina fans? We know guy next to them was Carolina guy.
Yeah.
Other guy was older guy who was Carolina guy.
Yeah.
And then we know Ethan is Carolina guy.
That's just you. I guess most people who work at Duke.
Oh, I'm sorry. Micah is Carolina guy. Ethan is a loyal member of the Duke football social media department.
As the game goes on, we're going nuts, but we are remaining hashtag so classy. The fans around us they did not stay hashtag so classy because they would ask us things like, did your check to the refs clear? And after another Mark Williams foul, or how much did you pay the refs?
Oh,
Mike, I'm
burn.
surprised you could even get out of the arena with that type of burn.
Micah, you just got cheer sheeted, bro. It says it right there in the right-hand column, 3 down.
If a foul is called, say, did your check to the refs clear? And then say, let's go Duke. Let's go Duke. And then say, da, 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 da. After the Tar Heels win, we are jumping around, exchanging hugs, and quickly made a beeline to the UNC fan section to enjoy the moment with fellow Tar Heels. We have a great time and head for the exit. While walking out on the street, Spencer nudges me and says, dude.
And that is all.
Dude, can you believe I just hijacked that train all the way to Charlotte? Dude, is that JJ Redick? And points to a man walking by us, clearly in a hurry, ducking his head while he pulls a collar up around his neck. The crowd of UNC fans quickly realize what is going on and begin to call out his name. Before I could ask him about our, quote, inferiority complex, if you may remember, JJ Redick did an interview sometime in the week or two between the first time the Tar Heels beat Duke and then the second time they beat Duke, and said that he thought Tar Heel fans had an inferiority complex to the Blue Devils. So, before I could ask him about that, JJ darted to the other side of the street. If I had to eat my words like he did, I would have been in a hurry too. He did stop to take a picture with a kid, but definitely did not want to be seen. We ended up getting tickets from Ethan for Monday night as well. It was a great time and a terrific sports memory, even topping all the Duke Carolina games I have seen in the Smith Center. Man, what a wild ride there, Adam, on the do we have the tickets? Do we not have the tickets? Who all's coming?
Do we fully trust Ethan? He's gone back and forth on this several times.
Okay, so, Adam, before we get into the game itself, I wanted to get a feel for what was going on in the Casa de Lucas down there in New Orleans as you were getting ready for the game.
I was too stressed out to leave my room. I think that I may have gone to get breakfast that morning with my family, but I think I was so grumpy that they basically told me they didn't want to hang out with me anymore because I was too stressed out. And so I think they went to Fan Fest that afternoon, like around lunchtime. And then they were nice enough to bring food back to the room so that I didn't have to leave. Because it was getting as the game got closer, as you know, the team hotel, the windows looked out on a busy street where there was a lot of foot traffic.
Yeah.
And anytime I would see someone wearing a Duke shirt, I would get very angry. And it seemed to me on that day as though the only people who were there were Carolina fans and Duke fans. You didn't see anyone from Villanova or Kansas. And so anytime I would look out the window and see a Duke fan, it would just up the blood pressure one more notch, and it wasn't healthy at all.
I remember I stood in line at the coffee establishment in the hotel, which was slow.
Yeah.
And got something for my wife and kids because they were going out with a bunch of other Tar Heel families to go to Fan Fest early.
Right.
And
that was at noon, by the way.
Well, time is different, Adam, in New Orleans. Like, I mean, honestly, I think my day my day moved from like a normal time period to like 11 a.m. to about 3 a.m. would be like the day.
Right.
So it would just be so messed up.
Yeah.
But so anyway, to the point where like we were cutting it, I'm like handing them their food and beverages as like they're walking out of the hotel. So then I went to a different place to get something after they had left. And I believe I texted you and said that it was going to be the last time that I left my room for the day because I couldn't handle all of these stupid people around me. Mm-hmm. Meaning, of course, not Tar Heels. We'll just leave it at that.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And then a lot of pacing. I remember I paced a lot. And then we left super early.
Very early.
God, we got there so early.
We were there well in advance of the first game.
We were probably there by 4:30.
That'd be my guess. We didn't have to get out and walk. We rode in the car the whole way.
Yeah. So I had not been nervous for the game until that day. I do remember that.
I had been nervous for that game since about the last 8 minutes of the St.
Oh, yeah. We've told you this. Adam didn't even enjoy the win over St. Peter's. He looked like he just wanted to throw up the whole time.
From that day until Saturday night at about midnight.
So that takes us to the ball game, Adam. So you and I both watched the only available copy that I'm aware of, which is the one that is through the March Madness YouTube channel.
Yes. No commercials. No halftime.
Yeah. So that, I mean, if we were in 2052 trying to rewatch this, I would want the commercials in the halftime.
Right.
But in this particular instance, it made things a lot better.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
I went and sat by myself during Villanova and Kansas.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, Adam was
down in the end zone.
Yeah, Adam was. What was it like over there?
Well, see, what I remembered was that's what I had done before the Gonzaga game in 2017. And so I thought that I could find a place where no one would bother me. And I tried to look as though I was very busy. But it didn't work. And I did get to chat with a couple folks who I actually enjoyed talking to. But mostly I just wanted to sit by myself and just count the minutes and be stressed out. But I was behind the Kansas student section, which then turned into the Duke student section. And once it turned into the Duke student section, I left.
I remember we were having all kinds of drama because camera guy was in Big Grits' way.
Oh, he was right up in Big Grits.
Yeah, I mean, he was legitimate. Like, Big Grits could not see half the court.
Well, because we were
way on the end.
at about between the free throw line and the baseline.
Oh, yeah. I was probably sitting at about basket, like equal to the basket on the right side of the court.
Across from the Carolina bench.
Yes.
And so Big Grits had a quote-unquote aisle seat, which traditionally is good for Big Grits. But in the aisle was a CBS camera guy on a very high chair, like higher than Big Grits. That's how high it was.
Yeah.
Who was shooting a shot that I never really saw in this broadcast.
Yeah, I'm not sure I ever saw it.
But so when Big Grits turned his head to the left to look at the other 60% of the court, you couldn't see because of the big camera. But luckily, Big Grits solved this problem very easily by sliding over one seat and putting me in the Big Grits seat.
Yeah. Because Adam certainly has the ability to see around everybody.
I was like, Big Grits, I don't see what the problem is. I'll just use my height. I eventually learned how to lean back so I could see. I was very proud of us when they set the scene on the TV broadcast. It was very obvious we were right there because Ben Alexander, Jones, Big Grits, Adam, all there in our blue shirts on press row. Immediately, that was us.
I will say, speaking of cameras, they've got that little runner camera.
Yeah.
And remember, Big Grits put a bug on it?
He did.
Put a plastic bug?
Yes, he did.
I know that sentence probably doesn't make a lot of sense. I think either Ben Alexander or Big Grits had this like plastic like gag bug.
I think Ben Alexander travels with the gag bug.
Well, used to.
Right.
Because then Big Grits put it on the runner camera. He found this hilarious. It stayed on there the entire first half, but then it disappeared at halftime.
That was one of the first things Big Grits said to me when I walked up after my self-imposed solitude. Did you hear about the bug? I was like, no, I don't think it was on the news. Don't worry, Ben expensed one plastic bug.
Yeah, that's right. One plastic gag bug. I'm going to go to Spencer's, and I'm going to pay $2.99, and I'm going to get this taken care of. Okay. To the game. So we've got, of course, the CBS A-team, Adam, of Jim Nance, super classy. Grant Hill, sneakily classy. Big Grits respects Grant Hill, so I respect Grant Hill.
I agree.
Bill Rafferty, former pod guest, who normally I like a lot. I really thought he was all up on Duke in this broadcast.
I thought Jim Nance sounded very tense at tip-off.
And here we go with Williams and Bacot about to meet for the opening tap. And a little slice of history down here in the Superdome. Here we go. The historic first, and the tap goes back to Roach and Duke.
Sometimes the moment's even big for the best, Adam.
That's what I thought throughout this game when I listened to his voice. I thought, like, well, Jim Nance has got a lot on his mind in this game. Normally, he's so breezy and pleasant. I think he was feeling it a little bit.
And then, is it Tracy Wolfson is
Right.
on the sideline? Yeah, Tracy. They show the like historic matchups between these two, and mention the Tar Heels winning the first ever meeting, and Carolina winning the 71 NIT game, which had been the only postseason victory postseason matchup previously. Coach K getting his 500. That's the Wojo hug game, isn't it? Mm-hmm. No, Tar Heels should have won that game. They had a big lead. It was in 98. Mm-hmm. We won't be rewatching that one.
It's okay. We got plenty to choose from now.
And then mention, of course, the Tar Heel victory in Cameron Indoor from a couple weeks earlier. Right when the game gets started, Adam, we are focusing heavily on Manick guarding Banchero.
Right now, Manick on Banchero. Thought we might see Leaky Black to start the game early, their best defender on the Tar Heels.
They had switched that in both games this year. We'll probably see Leaky on occasion. Tough match here, I think, for Manick.
Banchero fade away, back to the rim, pulled down by Carolina.
And it was a big story. I mean, of course, Carolina had tried something different in the first game with Bacot guarding Banchero early. He got in the foul trouble. It helped change the game, although, of course, Duke played great that particular evening. But Duke goes to Banchero the first couple of possessions and doesn't score. And I got to tell you, Banchero put up decent numbers in this game. I thought Manick did a good job in rewatching this. I thought he did a pretty good job against a really talented player.
Especially in the second half. There were some big Brady Manick defensive sequences that led to the more well-known Tar Heel offensive sequences that I thought were beneficial. And one thing that's different about this game rewatch is we've had a chance to talk to some of these folks who were involved in these last few weeks about some of this. And Manick said on the very first Tar Heel possession, he went to the corner and Banchero was just standing there face guarding him. And Brady Manick said he thought to himself at that moment, I can't believe this dude is going to face guard me in the Final Four. These aren't his exact words. In the Final Four, and this is how I'm going to spend the next 2 hours, is this dude just staring at me. And he said, but I did think to myself, a lot of times guys start off games with this type of defensive intensity, and they get a little lax as the game goes on. He said, so I just kept trying to remind myself of that.
First points of the game, a Leaky Black three-pointer. Leaky had not made a three-pointer the entire month of March.
Davis, left-handed dribble into the paint, kicks it corner left. Leaky Black for three, got it! Black had missed his last 10 triples, but he hits the left corner three.
He was 0 for March, but picked a fine time to get back on the board.
His last three had been February 28th, and this is on April 2nd. So the entire month of March, he doesn't make a three. First basket of the game is a corner three-pointer.
A lot of Leaky Black in this game, more so than I remembered.
I agree with that. There's a couple of huge offensive rebounds and just tip-outs, and he was a big part of this win. And, I mean, and he scored a little bit in this game, too. I mean, he had 9 points, or excuse me, he had 8 points and 9 rebounds. 6 of his 9 rebounds were offensive. He was super active in this game.
Yes, and we know about the defense, that as well.
Right. There was a really weird Coke read by Jim Nantz. Did you write that down? It was like he was remember their whole deal during the tournament was about the debate the goatness of Coke Zero sugar, which I mean obviously we respect Coke Zero, we know that.
Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? Try it first.
Double drag.
It was just a weird that struck me as odd. Maybe Jim Nantz was just shaking a bit.
I'm telling you, he was tense.
Grant Hill, the only thing Grant Hill said for this entire game that I took umbrage with, Adam, was this.
Grant, you were at the game at Cameron, and when we saw you the next week, you said, what a tough atmosphere for a young team to play in on that night. How about as far as being tight or being loose? Who do you favor in this game now?
I think both teams are going to feel the pressure. Duke has played with that pressure ever since that game, and because of the stage, Carolina will feel it as well.
The atmosphere in their home arena was too tough for them to play in a couple weeks earlier, and that's why Carolina had won the game.
Because they were young. The young team, it wasn't fair for this young team to have to deal with this, but that whole exchange was weird because it was really Nance who was telling Grant Hill what Grant Hill had told Nance. So I couldn't tell if Nance had the notes from Coach K or if Grant Hill had given Nance the notes from Coach K and be like, don't say this came from Coach K. You just make this observation.
I feel like, because there were a couple times, not just in this broadcast, but throughout the tournament, where it felt like Nance and Grant Hill weren't quite on the same page.
Well, I wrote down in the first half, what does Grant Hill add? But then in the second half, I thought he was really good.
Yeah.
And he said some things that I thought were insightful. And meanwhile, Rafferty's just over there going, woo!
Yeah, he's just the fun uncle at this point in the broadcast. But I tell you what he does. He loves some Mark Williams.
Griffin taking on Manick. Lays it up. No! Follow up by Williams. That's what he does best. We talk about his team. He runs the floor. Big fella. Get the puppies up and down.
Yes.
Just in general, I will give Mark Williams and Theo John, for this matter, credit for this. They dunk it hard. Like when they dunk it, they dunk it.
Yeah.
It's not a tiptoeing through the tulips dunk.
Good work, guys.
And so I think that they got everybody so excited on the TV broadcast.
It definitely got Bill excited.
Great getting in and finding just like that. Bring it to Bill. Williams.
Leaky Black, he made some sweet behind-the-back pass after an offense. I don't even remember that.
I don't think I even saw that in real time. And it didn't lead to a basket. It led to a foul, I think.
Yeah, a foul.
And so maybe I didn't pay as much attention. That was a nice pass. And it wasn't like a flashy behind-the-back pass. It was like that was the only way to get the ball there.
Just a good old, the sound fundamental behind-the-back pass after an offensive rebound.
Right.
Black, another long jump shot. He tried to go off the glass, no good. Got the rebound behind the back to Baycott, and Baycott was fouled going up.
Mark Williams picks up 2 fouls early. Very early, Adam. And sits. The rest of the half, he didn't come back in.
Went out at 15-19. It was 4-4. That's quick.
Manick battling with Williams in the post, and there's going to be an offensive foul. Williams got an elbow up on Manick as those two wrestled in the post. So 2 fouls on Mark Williams. That's 4 on Duke. Carolina has not been called for one as of yet. Carolina will have the ball, 15-19 to go. So Williams, his second foul at the 15-19 mark.
The first 5 fouls of the game were called on Duke.
Jim Nance mentioned that.
Yes, he did.
He didn't mention it in the second half when the roles were reversed.
Yeah.
Right then when Mark Williams got his second foul, there was a ton of empty seats in the Duke student section.
I noticed that too. They bring the students for the second game in between the 2 games, obviously. So did it ever fill up?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, those aren't great seats.
Oh, they're terrible seats. And Duke's enrollment is not large.
Right.
So maybe that's fairly normal. Like my only perspective is from sitting behind the Kansas section, and they filled all but about the last row or 2. Duke's was about half full.
It really was. It was not very full. I noticed that too. And again, it's more just about being in the building, right? For those seats.
Yeah, it's definitely not about seeing the game because you're going to watch the game on the video board if you're sitting there.
Really good play where R.J. Davis finds Armando Baycott basically unguarded down low for a dunk. 8-4 at that time.
14:45 to play first half as Love has it front side to Baycott, right back to Love. Dribbles to the top of the key. He'll try a step back 3 off the mark. Leaky Black, another offensive rebound. Out to Manick, right back to Love. Jump stop in the paint, kicks it right corner to Davis. Down low to Baycott. Duke lost him, and Baycott throws it down.
I enjoyed when Rafferty said around this time, Duke generally doesn't foul.
First 5 fouls of the game have been whistled on Duke.
And they generally don't foul.
Generally.
Just as a matter of principle.
When you're going into a game, you know that they're probably not going to foul.
They're just morally opposed to fouling.
Adam, this is where we really start to get into the part of the game because neither team is really shooting very well early on. Carolina was 1 of its first 8, I think, and Duke was 2 of its first 7 or something along those lines. But R.J. Davis was like the only Tar Heel who could make shots, but he was making some big, big shots.
R.J. Davis and Caleb Love both take some tough, very difficult shots that they make in this game and really the whole rest of the tournament. I mean, I think we just kind of got used to it. So we didn't appreciate them in these individual shots. Some of these shots, there's I don't know how they saw the basket.
Banchero had hit a 3 to give Duke the lead. And then RJ hits a 3 to make it 13-11.
Manick on the left wing. Down low it goes to Baycott against John. Spins into the paint, kicks it out to Love. He'll extra pass over to Davis. Long 3. Got it!
Well, R.J. Davis coming to life in his second 3-pointer.
He really kept Carolina afloat. He didn't shoot as well in the second half. Ended up with 18 total points on 6 of 13 shooting on those 2 3-pointers that he made here early in the ball game. But, man, he hit some big shots.
Well, and I thought it was interesting. This is another thing I was too stressed out to really think much about on game night. When you go back and watch this game, which I know you will, watch how many times Carolina's offense centers on whoever Banchero is guarding. They wanted him involved defensively, and they would switch whatever they had to switch to get the guy with the ball is the guy Banchero is guarding, and then that guy would go. And it gets even more pronounced in the second half when I think they feel like he's getting tired, and the strategy is essentially give it to whoever Banchero is guarding.
Tar Heel, I think this is Tar Heels pushed it up on the fast break, and Manick accidentally stepped out of bounds, and Rafferty said that his beard blinded him. He loves his beard.
Yeah.
He mentions the beard a couple of times during the game.
Yeah.
They got a Manic on the catch. He's out of bounds. The beard blinded him, maybe.
I just wrote RJ huge jumper. Don't really remember what was going on there.
And that was written down 12 times.
Yeah, that's right.
Heels need somebody other than R.J. Davis right now. He's 3 of 4. The rest of the team 2 of 14. Davis, hesitation, stop, step back, got it. Good thing R.J. came.
Duke goes on a little push at him. And I got to tell you, watching it again, and again, maybe I just didn't remember or realize, there felt like there were a couple times where it was like, uh-oh. Like if Carolina didn't score on the next possession or something, or if Duke had hit a 3, and they really shot the three-pointer poorly in this game. They were 5 of 22 from three-point range, and it felt like they had a couple that were big shots. They had a couple open ones that could have been big that just never went in. Moore makes a layup to make it 24-8. And it was just one of those times where it's like, if they'd have gotten 1 or 2 more baskets, you felt like it could have been danger time, but it just never happened. Carolina would answer every single time if Duke, and Duke was never out big, but if they got up by 5 or 6 or 7, Carolina just immediately got it right back down to 1-point game or a tie game, or Tar Heels would take the lead or whatever it was.
And I only felt that way about Carolina potentially having the chance to put Duke away maybe once.
Yes.
Which was in the second half, which we'll talk about.
So Theo John has been in since that 15 whatever mark that Mark Williams picked up his second foul, and he picks up his third foul on an incredibly physical sequence where there were a bunch of shots around the rim. Baycott had a couple of looks. I mean, it was a fight down there underneath.
Yeah, a couple of things about this stretch. This includes the stretch that has the Hubert Davis in-game interview.
Yeah.
Which I think gave you a great glimpse to what he's like in these like 2 or 3 hours that encompass a game. Because we've seen that from him a little bit after games when he's still in game mode.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, he can't even wait for Tracy Wolfson to finish the question.
Yeah.
Like, he's so jacked up and excited about everything that he's just going to tell you right now. Here's the answer.
Coach, 18-2 in terms of points in the paint, and even with
change. They had 52 points in the paint in the second game, and even though we had success, that's not sustainable. We've got to do a great job of taking care of the points in the paint. We've got to do a better job of that.
How do you do that?
Get more guys in there, better on individual defense, have some pride and toughness to keep them away from the basket.
So I thought that was interesting, and the in-game interview isn't always interesting for strategy, but for personality, I thought that was.
Is every coach hoarse during the in-coach interview?
Mike Krzyzewski didn't sound good during his.
Yeah.
So I think yes. Going to the timeout at 7:55, we got a little clip from the Duke introduction video, and it just reminded me of how ridiculous that was, because all 6 of them were just standing there like they were kind of into it, but you could tell their heart wasn't in it. And so I enjoyed that. And then a play right before John got his third foul and then proceeded to realize how important he was to the Duke fortunes. Armando Baycott went up to get an offensive rebound and then was trying to put it back, and there was just no lift at all. And Armando said that his knee was killing him in this game, that he had been dealing with this knee injury for a couple weeks, and he felt like from the tip, like when he went up for the tip, he felt like he had no lift. And you can see it in a couple plays. There's one in the second half, too, that we'll talk about where I think normal Baycott finishes the play. This Baycott just didn't have like that extra half an inch of lift to complete that type of play. So still a pretty fair performance from a guy who didn't feel like he was 100%. And this, of course, was before all the ankle stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Baycott only 3 of 10 from the field in this game. So just 6 of 23 in the 2 Final Four games. And now that you say that, a lot of those shots are around the rim, ones that he had finished at a high level all season, but had trouble doing so in both games, really, in the Final Four. Did get to the line a bunch, and, of course, had as Adam said, the 21 rebounds. I mean, that's insane. 8 offensive. And offensive rebounds were a big part of this game, too. Yeah, Carolina had 22 second-chance points on 17 offensive rebounds. Black and Baycott had 14 of the 17 offensive rebounds between the two of them.
I think Baycott's rebounding numbers really speak to what kind of rebounder he is. I mean, this isn't Brandon Wright jumping up over the rim to get these boards. It's much more Kennedy Meeks-esque, where he's just craftier than everybody.
I didn't write the score down here, Adam, but it's about 30 minutes into the broadcast or so, Caleb Love has his first field goal. And he had been taking some tough shots. He had taken a bunch of threes early that didn't go in, and finally gets on the board and with one of those little runners, which actually that's a shot he takes a lot. It's not a shot that went in a lot this year, but it is a shot that went in a fair amount in this game. And as time goes on, of course, we know that he has a big second half, and he hit some impressive shots in that mid-range area in the second half. But this one comes in the first half. Tough shot to get him on the board and have him see one go in, which is always good.
And I wrote down that same play and said, imagine how big that could be if he could make that consistently next year.
Yeah.
Because that really was an important weapon in this game.
Baycott on the right baseline. Bounces out to Leaky Black. Back out middle of the floor to Love with 7 on the shot clock. Love, the little runner, is good in the paint. His first bucket ties it back up at 26.
Yeah, he attacked right in front of Moore. Moore did not go up to contest the shot. And Love did a nice job of not settling for that three coming off the bench to replace Davis.
So we mentioned Theo John. He picks up his 4th foul in the first half. And, Adam, I'd forgotten there was this drama about it.
Right.
Duke complaining that they thought it should have been an offensive foul on Baycott. The TV broadcast goes to Gene Steratore, who got everything wrong all tournament, but he got everything right in this game.
Well, except he said when they reviewed this, they can re-referee the entire play. Is that right?
I don't think that's right.
Now, the good part about them looking now, they're looking for the fact that there is a potential flagrant one. That allows them to re-referee this entire play. They can look at this and decide whether they'll stay with a defensive common foul. They could change this to an offensive player control foul.
They could add a foul. Like they could have said, as I understand it, they could have added a flagrant foul to Baycott if they had thought that his elbow was, loose and hit Theo John a pie, which it was a spin move by Baycott, and his elbow was involved, but it was like on John's tricep. Like it was nowhere close to some kind of illegal hit above the neck.
Right.
But they can't take the foul away from Theo John. At least I don't think so, unless I'm just totally wrong.
I had never heard that until Gene Steratore said it in this broadcast.
That's like that time you and I were doing that baseball game, and they called the ball foul when it was hit. It was against Georgia Tech.
Yep.
And they called the ball foul. Dude hit it down the first base, like right field line, and they called it foul, and then the Georgia Tech bench got so mad that they changed it to fair.
And that was before video replay.
Yeah, they just changed it.
In their minds, they just switched it.
You can't do that. What are you doing? So a bit of a lengthy this was just a lengthy sequence where they went to the monitor, and apparently they hadn't looked at the monitor during the commercial break, but then they do go to the monitor when they come back and finally decide there's just nothing to add to it.
Which I think was the right call.
Yes. Yeah. And, I mean, Theo John had his leg in a position that was certainly a fouling position.
How many times have I said that?
And so, I think eventually they made the right decision here. And, Adam, why did they leave him in? I still don't get why they left him in. But Grant Hill was like, oh, well, yeah, they're just going to leave. He acted like it was the right move. Just put Banchero at the 5 at that point. Like, why wouldn't you just have both of them on the bench the rest of the way? Because Theo John, he barely plays, if at all, in the second half because he got 4 fouls.
Well, and I want to say this nicely because I don't mean it mean. I definitely think Hubert Davis was the best coach in this game and made the best coaching moves.
Yes.
And I thought there were a few times where I thought Mike Krzyzewski looked like a guy who was trying to be Mike Krzyzewski. I mean, we've seen him a lot by this point in our lives, and you just kind of know what you're getting. And I thought there were a couple times where like he thought this is when I would intimidate the refs. But it didn't go that way. And missing some things like this, like he got his fourth foul in the first half with 3 minutes or whatever left. That's weird.
Yeah. I just wrote Keel's playing well. He was probably fired up from that Cascada video.
Yeah, that's right. He was still thinking about, I can't wait till my friends see me on that one.
He really did play well for Duke, finished with 19. He and Banchero had 39 points combined.
Well, that's another one where I think like he's better than what he was utilized for, I think.
Yeah.
In college. I don't know what it'll be in the NBA, but in college, he's tough to guard.
Yes, they would get. I mean, when he'd get matched up with R.J. Davis, and this isn't a knock on R.J., just Keel's size is hard to deal with. And R.J.'s a smaller player, but his size and strength is just hard. He's hard to stop when he's going to the rim. And I mean, he finished 8 of 14, 2 of 7 from 3. So that means he was 6 of 7 on twos, and a lot of those were just barreling to the rim where he made some really tough finishes.
Right.
Banchero hit another 3. I think those were the only 2 he made, were both in the first half, yeah, and that made it 34-28. And then I thought this was a huge sequence right here because you've only got a couple. It's less than 2 minutes to go, I think, before halftime. Duke's up 6, and then you get a stretch where back-to-back R.J. Davis hits another big jump shot to cut it to 34-30. Then Caleb Love picks up a loose ball. I think it was Puff Johnson who knocked the ball away, and Love comes up with the loose ball and then drives and lays it in. And all of a sudden, within a blink of an eye, it goes from Duke's up 6, Banchero just hit a 3. They've got the momentum to it's a 2-point game again.
Davis on a switch is Banchero. Behind the back, elevates for 2 and got it. R.J. Davis has kept Carolina in this with 14 first-half points. And the Heels get a steal the other way. Carolina out on the run. Love coming in from the right is able to finish with the left hand. And a timeout by Duke.
Here's Davis. Got the separation.
That was ugly right there.
Wow. Stolen away. That was forced by Johnson. Number 2. That's Love. Beautiful move.
What's Love got to do with it?
Yeah. A whole lot.
Goodness.
That move by R.J. Davis when it was 34-28, which again,
is that the one where he had Banchero on and went behind the back? That was nasty.
And Grant Hill goes, that was ugly.
I mean, Carolina got the switch, and Davis' drive just goes hard and then stops at about 17 feet, dribbles behind the back. Banchero can't stop in time.
He ends up in like the Duke bench.
Yeah, I mean, that gives Davis, not an easy jumper, but a clean look, which he knocks in. It was a big-time move.
And got a chance to talk to RJ about that move and started the conversation with, I want to ask you about a play in the first half, and you had Banchero guarding you, and he goes, yeah. I said, you know the one I'm talking about? He goes, yeah. And it's hard not to be sort of nerdy when you're talking to them about this because you don't want to be like Saturday Night Live. Like, remember when you faked him out, went behind your back?
Remember when you hit that jump shot? That was awesome.
But it's amazing to me that this all unfolded in like 2 seconds. But R.J. Davis had this long thought process about it. Like, well, I realized I had Banchero on me, and I didn't think about what I was going to do, but I knew that I could free myself for a jumper, and I felt like he couldn't stay with me, but I knew I didn't want to drive to the rim because I thought he might block my shot. So, but it wasn't like, well, I had been working on that behind-the-back move. I took it 100 times every day in practice.
Right.
It was just like I needed to free myself for this jumper. And so that's what I did because I knew he couldn't handle it. And he was right.
We've said this before. R.J. Davis is skilled with the ball. And, I mean, that was a big part of Carolina's development through the year. And we've talked about that and talked about it through the season. Him having the ball in his hands more. And, man, he made some huge shots and really good decisions as well, especially in this first half.
Junior year, R.J. Davis is going to be very fun to watch.
Brady Manick had not made a basket the entire first half, but he does make a really tough driving left-handed layup to tie the game. Rafferty gives it a...
Manick at Oklahoma. Bearded Put that man to shame.
And so that ties it up at 34. Duke takes a timeout. By the way, and that sets up the final play, which is Jeremy Roach getting the layup, drawing a foul, and making the free throw to make it 37-34. We got one more Mark Williams flexing his bicep on the bench. He loved to do that while he was sitting on the bench.
I was surprised we didn't get Mark Williams patting his head after a dunk. But remember, Mike Krzyzewski told him not to do that at the Smith Center.
That's right. He did. He got fired up about it.
And very clearly told him not to, but then I saw him do it several other times, but he didn't do it in this game.
So, Adam, 37-34 at the half. This is what I wrote. Nobody shot well. R.J. Davis, huge. 13 of 16 Duke field goals are in the paint. Bench 14-0 Duke. Field goal percentage, Carolina 35, Duke 43. Duke played better than Carolina in the first half, but R.J. Davis made so many key baskets that he kept the Tar Heels in it.
I remember I did not feel good at halftime at all because Duke had played so long without Mark Williams.
Yeah. I mean, they played, and that's what Krzyzewski said going to the locker room, too, was that he felt really good by the fact that Mark Williams, one of their better players, only played a handful of minutes in that first half, and they were up 3.
And even once John went out at 3:54, they were up 2 when he went out, and they led by 3 at halftime. They played the last 4 minutes small and added 1 to their lead. So I remember feeling like things were not going well.
So it's halftime of the game. Gives us a chance to remind you that we're brought to you by the Independent Insurance Agents of North Carolina. Texting while driving takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds, and at highway speeds, that's like driving the length of a football field with your eyes closed. Trusted Choice Independent Insurance Agents of North Carolina want you to stay safe behind the wheel. Put down that phone while you're driving, and let's have a hands-free NC. To learn more, find an agent near you. Visit trustedchoice.com/GoHeels. Also, there's more to the Pinehurst Resort than Donald Ross's masterpiece, Pinehurst No. 2. There's Gil Hance's stunning redesign of Pinehurst No. 4. You can grab a couple wedges, take a loop around the cradle, the fun short course as well, and then unwind at the Pinehurst Brewing Company for craft beers and classic North Carolina barbecue. It's just down the hill from the fully renovated Manor Inn. There's never been a better time at the cradle of American golf than right now. You can go to pinehurst.com and plan your visit. By the way, Adam, I kept an unofficial Coach Cam shot in each half.
Okay.
Again, unofficial totals. There may have been some that slipped by. I had K at 12, Hubert Davis at 7 in the first half.
Honestly, closer than I might have expected, but we'll see how that develops in the second half.
Yeah, the margin gets a little wider in half number 2. So, again, Duke up 3 at halftime, 37-34. Adam doesn't feel good about it. That's where we are. Let's start the second half, Adam. Tar Heels get the ball first, don't score. Duke does score. Then Baycott gets his third foul on an absolute flop by Mark Williams.
Even Grant Hill said he sold that.
Ooh, offense, Baycott. How about Williams selling it?
How about that?
Woo. Taking it right in the gut.
And Baycott now has 3.
And the guys do such a good job teaching that, using the chest, and referees are so good at analyzing that as well.
And he sold that.
A little bit.
I don't understand. That was right in front of us.
I believe that was Tony Padilla who called that one.
Who had the roughest day of any of the 3 officials.
Yeah, Bo Borowski gets a lot of guff, and he is the one who called the foul on Baycott, the 5th foul on Baycott late in the game, which turned out, of course, to be a brilliant call, Mr. Borowski. And we've seen Roger Ayers a ton. Yes, Tony Padilla, I did think, had the roughest day of the 3.
But overall, this was a well-officiated game.
I thought so. Yes, the margins got a little wide for both sides at times, which all officials say they don't pay attention to. We've asked Brian Kersey about it, but they know, and of course they know. I mean, it was so obvious they were evening things up at one point in the first half where they had called, where it was 5-0 fouls on Duke at one point. They called one on Manick that was a foul, and then immediately called another one on Leaky Black for guarding whoever had the ball. I was like, what? So, anyway, this was a bad call, I thought.
This was a bad call, and I don't see how you missed this. It was right in front of us, and I remember us saying right then, that was obviously a flop, and you can see it on TV. It's obviously a flop. I don't understand how you can be looking at that live and think he clearly barreled over him in a way that made that reaction make sense. It didn't. It should have been a play on and a flop warning to Mark Williams.
Baycott, and he's going to be called for a third foul as Mark Williams flew backwards on contact in the post. Tony Padilla calls Baycott for the offensive foul, and that is a big call and a tough call.
Well, I mean, one, who knew Baycott was that strong? I mean, he knew he's a big guy, but Mark Williams was like somebody loaded him in a slingshot. So congratulations to Duke for picking up the third foul on Baycott. That's a big one.
All you needed was Grant Gibson winking at the Creighton bench at the end of this.
Yeah, that's right.
So then Adam comes, I think really perhaps the most important sequence of the ball game other than the end, which is Banchero just goes right by the Tar Heels and dunks it.
And Bill Raftery woos again.
He does. They were like in love with how hard Duke dunked it. The violence of Duke's dunks.
I wish you had kept an unofficial Bill woo count, because I felt like he only wooed when Duke did something.
Oh, absolutely.
Good. I think there was one woo when the Tar Heels did something, but there was about 6 when Duke did something.
Look, Raph, we need more woos.
I want equal wooing.
Driving pass. Manick. Leave the chandeliers, big fella. Wow.
This felt like this was when the wheels could come off. You're down 7. Baycott's got his third foul. Like this was danger time. Tar Heels get to the rim, if I'm not mistaken. It was R.J. Davis got to the rim, missed a shot. Baycott, I believe, keeps the rebound alive and tips it to Love, who hits his first three-pointer of the It's just like a perfect Caleb Love time. Oh, I haven't hit a 3 all game? Okay, let me just hit this one, the biggest shot of the game to this point, to make it 41-37.
The game's in the balance? Okay, I'll go ahead and do it now.
R.J. Davis can't hit the layup, but Baycott slaps the rebound out to Love. Love, tough step back triple. Good from the right. Baycott kept it alive. Love makes it pay off. 41-37. Love's first three-pointer.
And then Caleb Love hits another 3 to make it 41-40.
Moore, another hard drive. Tough shot, no good on the right baseline. Rebound to Baycott. Kicks it ahead to Caleb Love. Love stops on the left wing. Crossover. He's going to try another tough 3. Got it, Caleb! Back-to-back triples for Love. Heels within 1. 41-40.
Then, Adam.
My favorite play.
Comes the bang, bang, my friend shot by Brady Manick. So the Tar Heels, who did not shoot the ball well in the first half, they do shoot the ball well in the second half. 50% from 3, including 50% from the field, including 54% from 3, where they were 7 of 13, including 3 threes in a row here to go from down 7 to up 1. Love with 2 of them, and Manick with the famous corner 3 and the bang, bang, my friend.
And I think what will get lost about this play in history as we talk about it, he blocked Banchero on the other end to start the sequence, and then noticed, and part of this I saw and part of this Manick told us.
He started running, like he noticed, I saw it too, because he started running harder.
He noticed Banchero wasn't giving full effort, and so he decided he was going to sprint down the court. He sprints hard to the corner, and that's how he created the daylight that enabled him to get the shot off. And I'm just going to tell you that if you buy an incredible new book called Together, The Amazing Story of Carolina's 2021-22 basketball season, you'll hear Brady Manick tell the full story on why he reacted the way he did to Banchero at that moment. And it included the line, I was just over those guys, and includes some back and forth that occurred at Cameron that led up to that moment.
And Carroll blew past Manick the last time. Going to take it to him again. This time it's taken out of his hand. Block shot. Put back, no. And Baycott has it for the Heels, who can take the lead on this possession. Manick, is he ready? Yes! At last.
He ran the floor, made himself available, and got him organized and drilled it.
Now Banchero faces up against Manick. Drives hard on the right. His shot's blocked by Manick. Banchero gets it back. Forces it up. No good. Williams tries to dunk in the rebound. It won't go. Rebound to Baycott. Carolina the other way. R.J. Davis comes up the right side. Finds Manick in the corner right. Quick trigger three. Got it! Carolina has the lead.
I did not, even though he made that three right in front of us, I mean, right where we were, I did not realize that he celebrated in such a way, but there's no doubt from the TV copy that he did indeed.
Yes. And I enjoyed it. I didn't realize it.
Dude, I got like chills during this time rewatching it. I got so excited watching this part.
Yeah.
And it's not over yet either.
Right.
So the Tar Heels get another stop, and then Love gets a layup, and Duke takes a timeout.
43-41 Carolina. Roach, hard drive, lost the basketball. R.J. Davis out of there. Long pitch ahead to Love. Love stops. Now he's going to drive. He'll lay it home. Carolina by 3. Timeout Duke.
What a set of offensive possessions by Carolina and defensive because they're forcing the miss, the tough shots by the Blue Devils.
An 11-0 Tar Heel run, 8 of the 11 from Love. Carolina 45, Duke 41.
The Tar Heels must have been hanging out with Adam because then they got a shot of Caleb, letting everyone know that this was his blankety blank
game.
And so Duke takes a timeout. Tar Heels on an 11-0 run. We'll just go ahead and give you a spoiler alert. Tar Heels stretch it out to a 13-0 run on another basket by Love. Adam, he had 10 of the 13 points in this 13-0 run that changed us from a 7-point deficit to a 6-point Carolina lead and flipped the entire game to where now the rest of the time, the Tar Heels, for the most part, the Tar Heels have a slim lead the rest of this game. There's obviously a very important section or two that isn't the case, but this stretch flipped it from Duke with the small to medium lead to the Heels to the small to medium lead, and Love has 10 of the 13 points.
Here's some analysis. When you can shoot and score, you can go on runs like this. Carolina made some tough shots in a small amount of time.
That first three from Love and the Manick three, I mean, they were tough shots.
Yes. And I thought that sort of set the stage for the rest of this game is going to be a very good game. I didn't think the first half was all that great. Nance kept talking about what a well-played battle. I thought the first half was okay. It was close. But from this point forward, it's just two really good teams making really good plays.
Yeah. I had approximately the last 12 minutes or so of this game was just as high level. Both sides. I mean, both sides just making huge plays, big shots. It was really impressive basketball. It really was. It was just both teams making big-time plays. Adam, this is one of the times where you felt like Carolina could maybe push this out. You know, they were on this big run. They get a stop, and then a kind of a fluky rebound goes out to Keels, and he hits a three. That starts what is a 10-2 Duke run. So Duke answers Carolina's 13-0 run with a 10-2 run to take a small lead. And Tar Heels were struggling from the field there after being so hot for a few minutes. And Adam, that's when, bless my heart, it's Leaky Black who comes up with another huge three-pointer. He was wide open on the right wing, and he drilled it to give Carolina the lead back at 52-51.
12:05 to go. Duke by 2. R.J. Davis drives, stops, has to kick it out to Leaky Black. Left alone for 3. Yes! His second 3 of the game. 52-51.
It's a big-time shot.
I had forgotten this shot even occurred.
It was a big-time shot.
To the point that when he took it on the rewatch, I was like, oh, Leaky, that's not a great shot. Good shot, Leaky! It happened a month ago, and I still wasn't sure it was a good shot. That felt like a really big play.
Duke scores, so it's 53-52. And then, Adam, that tiptoe corner 3 from Manick. What a shot.
Davis well out by the timeline. Shot clock all the way down to 12. Davis jump stop, kicks it out to Leaky Black. Whips the pass in the corner to Manick. He'll try the 3. Yeah! Manick has hit 2 threes this half, 55-53.
I enjoyed that one too, with Moore dropping his hand so that he could point at the sideline to try to officiate the play, and meanwhile Manick shooting it right in his face.
I mean, Moore is a good player, had a great season. It seems like a very intelligent guy and player. What was he doing on that play? Even I know hand down, man down, Adam. And he purposely put his hands down to complain.
To point at the sideline. If they're going to call it, they're going to call it. And CBS had a great shot of this where had he put his heel down, he would have been out of bounds.
Oh, it was. And I don't know if you talked to Brady Manick about this or not. That has to be just you've taken 8 million reps of corner three-pointers, and you know that the real estate is slim over there. And so you've got to be mindful of where your feet are at all times. That's just a veteran big-time play.
I mean, you understand the difference between 6 inches from the sideline and 12 inches from the sideline, and you've taken so many that you can just feel it. And he could just feel where he was, how he came around the corner. He knew what room was there, and Moore did not.
Duke scores, Banchero makes it 55-55, and Adam, Duke takes a weird timeout here.
I wrote, why would you call timeout here? Was this when he took timeout to yell at the official?
Yes.
I thought that was another, I'm going to be Mike Krzyzewski now move, rather than a what makes sense in this game move.
Yeah, I thought this, and Duke could have used the timeout at the end of the game.
Yes.
And I just thought this was a weird timeout to take.
And you don't get this on the rewatch, but in the arena, he called the officials over and tried to talk to them, and he stared at them a little while. But it just didn't make sense really as a stoppage at that point, and what was becoming clear was going to be a very tight game.
Yeah. So 55-55 at the time. The next basket, Adam, comes on, and I remember I did say something similar to this on the radio at the time. We mentioned earlier there was kind of that fluke rebound where the ball just caromed right to Keel, or somehow Duke got it to Keels on a rebound after Carolina was on that 13-0 run and had gotten a stop, but it bounces out to Keels and he hits a three. Well, this is kind of the flip side of that, where Banchero makes a nice hustle play to try and save a ball on the baseline, but Adam makes the cardinal mistake. This is rec league. You don't save the ball right underneath your own basket. I mean, again, made a hustle play to try and save it. You've got to either throw that ball as deep as you can down the court, throw it to the outside, something. You can't throw it directly underneath the basket because, that was like a fastball strike right into the breadbasket of Armando Bacot, who scores, and Mark Williams just kind of reacting, picks up his 4th foul on the play.
R.J. Davis in the half court for Carolina. He's going to drive hard on the right. His shot blocked by Banchero. Banchero saves it right to Bacot, who scores and draws the 4th foul on Mark Williams.
Compare that to the save Bacot had against UCLA.
Yeah.
Where he does throw it further back towards midcourt, and of course it turns into a great play. Just, a matter of feet and of maybe 1% awareness changed 2 games. But, boy, the announcers got all on Banchero for that one.
Yeah.
You can do all kinds of other stuff, and we're not going to talk about it. But you save the ball under your own basket, we're not letting that go.
Davis had the hot hand in the first half. Drives past Banchero, blocked it, tried to save it, gave it, though, to Bacot, and the basket counts.
Well, as good as you are, you never throw the ball inbounds on a save directly at your basket. That's one of those flip it up in the air. Pay big-time three-point play. Pretty good defensive play here, but right here, boy, carte blanche.
Now you're right. In that situation, first of all, Banchero played good defense, but you throw it down to the other end.
Manick gets a block, and I know we've mentioned his defense a couple of times, but he gets another block against Banchero, and then Love hits a tough floater. It's 60-55 at this point. Carolina by 5.
This is when I felt like the Tar Heels had a chance to put it away.
They had a couple of chances. Love took a couple of three-pointers early in some possessions that didn't go in. But they had a chance because Duke was scuffling here a little bit too. And the Tar Heels, they just couldn't. They couldn't stretch this lead out past what it was at 60-55 because it stays here for a couple of minutes at Tar Heels +5.
Well, and I think this is this is just what you get with Caleb Love. And he talked about this some the last couple weeks. He's always looking for the dagger. And the dagger here was a 3, preferably with someone right on you to just completely demoralize him. And so that's what he did. But that's also what he did on the very famous shot over Mark Williams. That was the dagger. And that's just who he is. That is how he's going to play. And some of them are going to go in and some of them are not. At 62-57, I thought Carolina missed Manick twice when he was open for what I feel like would have been a pretty high percentage 3-point shot. And they didn't get it to him. And things then, of course, tightened up again. But it's the Caleb Love experience.
So it does get to 62-59 and no, excuse me, it gets to 62-61 and Keels gets a putback and a foul after a steal, kind of a lazy pass by the Tar Heels. Roach gets a steal. Roach oddly has the ball slip out of his hands when he's going up to lay it up, but Keels hustling back, gets the rebound and scores and draws foul, missed the free throw. But that gives Duke the lead 63-62. So after Carolina had gone on that 13-0 run early to take the lead, Duke closed it back up, took a small lead. Heels stretched it back out to 5, but could never get more than that. So now all of a sudden Duke leads by 1.
In this stretch with 7:30 left, Carolina's up 62-59, and Bacot misses a dunk, which they tried to give Duke credit for a block, but I really don't think they did. I think he just missed it, and I thought that was when you really saw the no lift that he was talking about. I think normal Bacot finishes that play pretty easily. And then when that ball slipped out of Roach's hands and it kind of ends up with Keels and somehow he scores, I wasn't feeling good then either. It felt like the Tar Heels had their chance to put this thing away, and now here came Duke, and the breaks were starting to go their way.
Love gets a high screen from Bacot on the right wing and turns it over as he tried to send it out to R.J. Davis, but Roach misses the layup, and then a foul called on the putback. Duke has the lead and a chance for 3.
What a myriad of errors.
So Carolina misses a shot down 1. Another, I wrote, big offensive rebound by Leaky Black, and it ends up in a Caleb Love layup. And Tar Heels are up 64-63.
Davis, a quick 3 on the other side. Boy, he missed everything but the backboard. Long rebound, though, to Carolina. Caleb Love on the drive. Finger roll is good. Banchero tried to step in.
Leaky Black played a huge role in this game. I mean, not to mention, we know that he played great defense, against A.J. Griffin. Griffin was 1 of 7. Had 6 total points.
You barely even noticed he was out there. I mean, think of how many times so far to this point in this episode have we said the name A.J. Griffin?
Yeah, I think it might be the first time.
I think because he just erased him.
Yeah. And it was interesting. There were a couple of times when Black wasn't on Griffin. I remember once in the first half, Styles, Bacot had gone out, so Carolina was changing their defensive assignments. Black was on Banchero. Styles had come in and guarded Griffin. And it was like Griffin was so excited to have somebody other than Leaky that he just shot it immediately. And it didn't go in, but it was like he was so excited just to shoot it because somebody else was guarding him. So 64-63, Carolina. Duke hits a couple free throws to go up 65-64. Then Carolina misses. Roach gets to the rim for a layup attempt, blocked away by Manick. Big-time block.
Manick had several. How many blocks did he have in the box score?
Let's see. I think he finished with 4. Let me look. 3.
All 3. One of them was on Banchero.
I think 2 were on Banchero and 1 on Roach, I think.
They all felt like they were important and on shots that you thought Duke was probably going to make. I mean, he erased some points.
Eventually, Bacot makes a free throw, and it's tied at 65. Tracy Wolfson, Adam, then tells a story about Hubert Davis, yelling at the referees.
This was weird because she's good.
Yes.
But she says Hubert Davis went up to one ref. Well, why didn't you say it was Tony Padilla? You know who it was. It was Tony Padilla. We saw him do it. And this is when Tony Padilla got a little heated with Hubert Davis, about as heated as we saw any official get with Hubert Davis personally.
Outside of Jeffrey Anderson that time at Clemson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Over the course of the season. And they had a kind of a hot exchange, but I just thought it was so weird that Tracy Wolfson on CBS acted like she didn't know the people's names. Of course you know the people's names.
Let's go over to Tracy.
Jim, Hubert Davis just working the refs, so frustrated with the foul differential early on here. He went over to one ref. He finally said, the ref said to him, don't say another word. So he continued to work the other refs just to make sure he got in their ear, guys.
Well, you got 3 to work with, Trace.
Hubert Davis is more, and again, I don't watch him exclusively on the sideline. It depends on kind of where we're seated, how much we see him. And we were right across from the bench, but this game was so intense. He is active on that sideline.
I think it seems to me that what officials understand about him and what helps him is he's not active at them.
Right.
He's into the game. He jumps up in the air.
Yeah,
when
there's
the
a lot of
Cardinals
fist
don't
pumps.
Execute,
Yeah.
or when somebody misses a switch or something, he gets all mad, but you almost never see him.
Adam's giving it the physical motions, too.
Yeah, I'm sure you can see that. But you almost never see him react that way to a call. It's something his team is doing, and I think that buys him some leeway.
So, I mean, we all can envision the Roy Williams come on crouch where he's down. For Hubert Davis, it's like the one arm, almost hook in front of his body where he's like, and
if it's
he's getting a little skip with it sometimes.
Yeah, if it's big, you get the skip plus the one arm.
Yeah.
And he can cover a lot of ground on the skip.
Yeah, I mean, Hubert Davis is what, 6'2", 6'3"? I mean, he's taller than Adam.
Barely.
So we're tied at 65, Adam. And then comes the Bacot injury. And a couple things about this injury. One, it happened much earlier in the game than I remember it happening. In my mind, if you'd have said, Jones, when did Bacot hurt his ankle? I'd have said, about 2.5 minutes left. What was it? 4.5, 5.5?
5:18.
Yeah. So it happened a lot earlier in the game than I thought it did.
Yes.
I was surprised that the TV guys didn't. He very clearly hopped out of the play, and Duke was playing 5-on-4, and eventually got a couple free throws out of this possession by A.J. Griffin, which he makes both of them to make it 67-65. And you could tell even in Nance's voice, Adam, and I'm sure we sounded the same way. It felt like at that moment, that's going to be the game. And not only from the Tar Heel perspective, did you hate that, A, Armando Bacot was injured, B, this hurt Carolina's chances to win the game, but also that this game that had been so good was going to end up being decided by a fluky thing like this, where Bacot just stepped on Leaky Black's foot. Neither one of them did anything wrong. It just happened. And so you could tell even in the TV guys' voices, and I think that summed up the feeling from anybody other than Duke fans, I'm sure, of I can't believe this game in this moment is going to be decided because of this.
Yeah, it rolled. He's on his feet now. Barely able to put any weight on that injured foot.
It absolutely felt like a decisive play. And I think it was, in the moment, I think it was tougher for us because we couldn't see Armando Bacot.
Yeah.
We just knew he was over there. And the only way we knew he was over there was because he wasn't on the court. So we knew he was laying down somewhere beyond the basket, but from where we were below the court, you couldn't see him on the opposite end of the court. So we didn't 100% know what they were looking at or what had happened. Was his leg still attached? What was going on exactly? But we knew that everyone looked very, very concerned, as were we.
Drive, sends it out to Banchero. He'll drive. And Bacot comes up short as comes up limp as the ball goes into the corner. No good on the three. Duke's playing 5-on-4, and a foul is called. Bacot is totally out of the play and injured.
Bacot came down on an ankle, and he is hurt. And he is still down. He is behind the backstop. We can't see him from our opposite end zone location.
Foul on Black is his third. It will be free throws for Griffin. That's bad enough, but Bacot is down. 11 points, 19 rebounds. His entire team, including his head coach Hubert Davis, head trainer Doug Halverson around him. 5:18 to go. Game tied at 65. And he's going to have to
He's walking, but he's definitely gimpy.
And he's going to have help to walk to the bench.
Who will rise to the occasion? As Hubert Davis says, you're going to get your opportunity. And right now, it may not be for the substitute, as Puff Johnson will come off the bench. Looks like he'll report in for Baycott, who is trying to put some weight on it as he walks off, which is a good sign. But how will Carolina's offense and Carolina's defense respond? Because there is no time to take a breath with 5:18 on the clock. Tie game.
Some stuff that happened in the game, and then some stuff that you could only see on if you're watching on TV here. You know, you've got Doug Halverson after Baycott gets help from Ryan McAdoo and Dewey Ferris for about the first 80% of his trip over to the bench, and then kind of walks himself to the rest of the way. He and the Tar Heel trainer Doug Halverson talk for a little bit on the bench. Then they go back in the tunnel for seconds and then turn right back around and come back out. While all that is happening, Manick gets fouled and misses 2 free throws. This is where Banchero did all the chirping at Manick while he missed his free throws.
He sure did. Bang, bang, my friend.
Yeah. So 67-65. You got all the drama happening with Baycott, but then, Adam, Puff Johnson gets fouled after Carolina, if I remember correctly, they forced a turnover and were out in transition. Is that right?
Manick contested a Banchero shot, and Banchero missed it.
And it kind of got, and Carolina was able to run after the missed shot. And so Puff Johnson gets fouled. Meanwhile, Baycott's gone back to the scorer's table to check back in while all this is happening.
At which time Caleb Love asks him if he's okay, and Armando Baycott says he is okay.
Yeah.
Fun story from Puff after he makes these 2 giant free throws.
Yeah. Enormous free throws. I mean, Manick had just missed 2, and now Puff Johnson comes up. I think he had taken 13 free throws. I think maybe he was 10 of 13 or 11 of 15 or something like that on the season up to this point. So fewer than 20 free throws that he's attempted in the season, and now with less than 4 minutes to go against Duke in the national semifinal, down 2, and he makes them both.
Knocks in the first, even though Banchero waved his hands out in front of Puff Johnson's eyesight on the shot.
Well, Banchero has been chippy. You know, he's such a good player, and I always say whether it's Caleb Love for Carolina or another player, act like you've been there before.
67-66. Johnson's second free throw. Huge! Both of them good. He'll leave Baycott back in.
Enormous free throws. And Puff said that Brady Manick came up to him on the bus after the game and said, "Puff, those were 2 big-time free throws." And Manick said, "I don't know what I would have done if I was in that situation. I don't know if I could have hit those." And Puff said that Brady walked off for like 2 seconds and then turned back around and goes, "Wait a minute. I was in that situation, and I missed them. So I couldn't have made those. So nice job, Puff."
So, and of course we know how well Puff Johnson played in the championship game too. And Adam, and just I think that's part of the excitement for Puff Johnson for next year, is that you saw him in these huge moments rise to the occasion and make big plays.
And I think the fact that he was doing a little bit of everything. It wasn't like he just got hot shooting. Like, I think if he had gotten hot and made 3 threes or something, that could go away. But all these things that he was doing, showing some toughness defensively, making these free throws under incredible pressure, getting offensive rebounds, those things carry over no matter what. You don't have to get hot to do those things. So I think it's reasonable to assume you'll see more of that next season.
So Baycott back in, game tied at 67. And Adam, I remembered this sequence, and I remember you one of many times that Sourpuss Adam had decided the Tar Heels were going to lose this game. With the first coming with 10 minutes left against St. Peter's when Carolina was in Philadelphia the previous week.
That's right.
The Tar Heels get a ton of great looks right around the basket. Baycott, I think Leaky Black was in the mix there. I mean, it's one of those where just the ball keeps getting tapped up there, and somebody will have it for just a second and push it up, and it just never went in. And then all of a sudden, Carolina gets another offensive rebound and kicks it out to Manick, and he has probably the best look that he has in the entire game, a three-pointer that we have seen Manick make 70% of the time, and it doesn't go in. And you just felt like you could just, that didn't go. That was such a great opportunity.
Love gets a screen from Baycott. Switch has Banchero on Love. Love's going to drive. Got to the hoop, handed off to Baycott. Can't finish in traffic. Is tipped up once, twice. No, again, it won't drop. Still loose. Black out of there with it. To Manick for three. In and out. Banchero with the rebound. 3:55 to go. Carolina with multiple good looks.
I wrote down, felt bad here.
Is that just what every line on your until Love hits the three?
Even after that?
Yeah, everything terrible. Feel bad here. Doing all I can. I hate this game.
Sports is dumb.
More free throws for Duke. Banchero, 1 of 2, with 3:32 to go.
I want to hear more about the kid behind the Duke bench wearing the Carolina shirt. Did you see that guy? On the first row behind the Duke bench, there's a long row of Duke people, and he appears to be
Maybe it was Micah.
It might have been. Well, Micah sent a picture from his seats, and I don't think he had those seats. But it looks like he's with his dad who's wearing a Duke shirt, and you can tell the kid is trying to be so classy, and the dad is kind of trying to be so classy, but every once in a while the kid gives it a cheer. I want to hear more about that kid. He's probably not a kid. He's probably like 20, but you know what I mean.
A kid to you, Adam.
Yeah, that's right. Anyone under 60 is young to me.
So 68-67, Banchero with 1 of the 2 free throws. Adam, then Caleb Love. What a shot this was by Caleb Love on the scoop shot to make it 69-68. Drove down the paint. Williams challenged. He ducks it under Williams' left arm and brings it. It was just big-time play. Big-time shot.
Out to Love. Love's going to drive, hang in the air, and finish. 69-68. Scooped it under the challenge of Mark Williams.
The shot that's going to live forever from Love in this game is a 3, but the shots that might have been the most amazing were his 2s. I mean, some of the floaters.
Yeah, there was another layup. There was another driving layup at some point where it was not quite as good as this one, but it was also a really impressive scoop in traffic on a drive.
Yes.
Carolina gets a stop. Manick fouled, goes to the line, makes 1 of 2. So it's 70-68 at this point in time. And then, Adam, we get in the sequence where just what a stretch. Less than 2 minutes to go. Keels with the 3.
Keels to Banchero. Keels.
Gives Duke the lead by 1. Wendell Moore against Manick. Gets deep. Pivots, falling out of bounds, saves it out to Keels. Ends up to Banchero. Out to Keels. Big 3. Got it from the left wing.
And Keels has done it all night long. He's now 8 of 12. He's just 2 of 5 from behind the arc, but that one was a biggie.
He has 18. Carolina down 1, 71-70.
Manick with the 3.
Manick. Oh, what a shot. It's a 3. Ooh, over help, sneak a peek, pay mightily.
On the baseline right. Dribbles up to the wing area. Shot clock down to 10. Black on the drive, out to Manick. He'll try and answer the 3. He does it! Come on.
Moore with the 3.
Keels just hit 1.
Big
down.
Step back.
Moore, step back 3. 2.
How about the confidence?
By 1.
Out to Keels. Another 3 from the same spot. That one's too long. Rebound out to Wendell Moore, though. Wendell Moore will try a long jump shot. Good, it's a 3. Duke takes a timeout. They're last with 1:18 to go.
Duke takes his last time out. I wrote great call by Nance. I don't even remember what he said, but I wrote great call by Nance. What a sequence, Adam, with both teams just making huge plays.
I wrote down Nance gets so excited on Moore 3. I was still a little bitter.
Yeah.
How many times does a game with this much buildup not only deliver but exceed even your wildest expectations?
Duke 100% thought it was going to win on that when Moore hit.
When Moore hit the 3.
He turns around and gives it the big fist pump. That they thought that was the ball game.
And how do we know how sure they were that they were going to win? Mickey leaves her seat.
Yeah. Coming back from the break, and again, that's Duke's last time out. We get the weird shot of Mickey Krzyzewski leaving her seat and very gingerly high-fiving every Duke student that was down there.
Show me someone high-fiving who's never high-fived anyone before.
Yeah.
That's what it would look like.
It's like the most gentle high five ever.
Well, this is an honest question. Why did she need to leave her seat? Why did she need to go by the court? Leslie Davis didn't go down by the court.
I don't know that answer, Adam.
But this is it didn't just happen in this game.
No.
This is something that has happened throughout most of the season, I think. It's odd. I mean, think of how many games you've watched in your life. When have you ever seen this?
So she's waiting in the tunnel for Mike. Duke slaps the floor, which I was so sad that you couldn't see it on TV.
That is the most disappointing thing of this CBS broadcast, that doesn't live in infamy.
Yep.
Somebody needs to find that and put it on YouTube so I can go relish it again.
Yeah. I know I mentioned it on the radio broadcast. The TV guys don't even say anything. You don't see it on the camera shot.
Well, and there's a few minutes earlier, there's a shot of Coach Krzyzewski where he looks like he's about to slap the floor, but he's like just a bear. He's like, And I first thought, is that when they slapped the floor? But it wasn't. It was this right here, and I need footage of that because it will give me life.
I'm not sure if I know Banchero did.
I think they all did it.
And I know Roach did. I'm not sure if they all. I know those two did because I remember seeing it. And then Roach fouls R.J. Davis.
This is one of those situations where when you come out of a timeout, you want to really have the best opportunity, or you ought to have the best opportunity to get the shot that you want, Jones. So it'll be very interesting. As aggressive as Duke has been, Carolina comes out ready to roll.
Blue Devils slapping the floor. Davis on the right wing, backs up with Roach hounding him. 20 on the shot clock. Davis dribbles to the left wing, behind the back. Into traffic, forces it up. No good, but a foul.
Grant Hill and Bill Rafferty didn't like it.
Roach did a pretty good job until the end there. And Davis initiating that contact.
Davis is so quick right there. Not a great possession, but a little bit of,
little mystery.
What do you call it, a nickel?
No, that's not even small change.
I do think you've probably seen this online since the game. When you see the angle from the baseline, you can see why it was a foul, and it was the angle that the camera had on the replay. I could agree that you would go, ooh, there was contact, but that happens a million times a game. I think when you see it from the baseline angle, it's a little more clear that there was a foul on the play. And the thing was, Duke had played good defense on this possession, but then couldn't finish it off by not fouling, because I do think it was a foul.
Well, as you would expect them to play good defense after slapping the floor.
For gracious.
And, I mean, that's what Greg Kubek used to do.
Yeah.
When CBS has as many cameras as they do for a game like this, you can always find an angle where it doesn't look like a foul. But use your common sense of, is that normally a foul in a basketball game? Yes.
Yeah. 18th lead change of the game with RJ. But let's not forget RJ Davis made both these free throws right here with like a minute left.
With Banchero waving his hand at him at the free throw line, which is completely like 7U type basketball.
So that gives Carolina the final time that the lead changes, 75-74, Carolina with the lead after Davis's 2 free throws.
74 all. Second one. Got the roll, front iron, bounced around and in. 1 minute to go. Carolina by 1.
Then comes Baycott getting called for his 5th foul against Mark Williams.
Sends it up to Banchero. He's going to drive right in the lane. Out to Moore. Down low to Williams. And a foul on Baycott, and that's his 5th. That was on the catch. Bo Borowski calls the foul on Baycott. He has fouled out for the 5th time this year. What a time to call it. He leaves with 11 points and 21 rebounds.
And Williams goes 0 of 2 at the line despite being a 75% free throw shooter. 46.7 seconds to go.
First one. No good. Off the back left portion of the iron. Second one for Williams with 46.7 to play. No good. Manick with the box out of Ben Carroll allows the Love to pick it up.
2 big misses.
No head tapping, no flexing.
No. We did get a shot of his face looking.
Yeah, the second, when they go back and he could tell that second one was not going to go.
This to tie it. Missed them both. Carolina possession with the lead.
Good box outs by Carolina on several of these, this second one included.
Yeah, Brady Manick with the box out here. Love gets the rebound. And Adam, that then sets up the sequence of, I don't think Love, he never passed it. He dribbled up, held the ball deep on the right sideline, got the screen from Leaky Black, and pulled up and hit that three.
Again, you'll read all this in together. Caleb said he was pretty sure Hubert Davis was going to call timeout. Hubert Davis said if Carolina had been tied or down, he would have. But because they were up, he felt like Carolina was organized and Duke was not organized. So he didn't want to call timeout and let Duke get organized. You'll also, if you watch it, you'll see Leaky Black go to set the screen a little earlier than he actually does, and Hubert Davis kind of calls him back. And Hubert Davis said that he told Leaky he wanted him to go right when he did, and he said, Leaky, go. Leaky goes to set the screen. Caleb gets Mark Williams on him. Caleb said he had watched a lot of film on Mark Williams and knew that he might drop back just a half a step, which if you're 7 feet, a half a step is a long way. And he thought that if he drops back, he's going to take the shot, go for the dagger, because that's what Caleb Love does. And that's what he did.
Inside 30 overall. Love, top of the key. Oh! Big time delivery.
33 seconds to go. Love dribbling out on the right sideline. Shot clock down to 12. Love guarded by Keels. Gets a screen. Pulls up for three. Got it! Caleb from straight away. Here comes Duke. 23 seconds to go.
I know we have said this before, but that one picture of that shot, all-time picture. I still don't know who took it.
There's a USA Today version of that picture that I think is the one that's gotten the most play, and there's a Getty Images version of that picture. There's two. The only thing it's missing would be the scoreboard. But you just can't get it the way that was oriented on the court. You can't get the scoreboard in there. But everything else is incredible. You got Manick going for the offensive rebound. You got the ball and Mark Williams' finger basically touching each other. And Caleb Love said he didn't realize until he saw this same picture that you're talking about, he didn't realize how close it was to being tipped because, of course, he thinks every single one's going in. Like, it could be blocked into the third row and he wouldn't realize it might have gotten tipped.
Okay, Adam, where's it go? Luke May, Michael Jordan, Quig free throws. Where's it go?
I mean, all those are 1, and this is 1A, right? Because it didn't lead to a championship.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just hard to put it above any of those because it didn't win the title. This is, in my opinion, the greatest non-championship victory for Carolina basketball ever. And so there is certainly that aspect to it. All the stuff that we know about it. I think that's probably right. It's better than 2, but it's not 1, if that makes sense.
And I think it's clearly just as I think it's clearly a notch below Michael Jordan against Georgetown or Luke May against Kentucky, which we know didn't win the championship, but that propelled the Tar Heels to win the championship. Just as it's clearly a notch below those and the Quig free throws, I think it's clearly a notch above every other shot.
Yeah.
Every other shot.
Marvin Williams?
I might put that in the propelled to a championship category.
Yeah, I think any non-championship year shot that you can think of, this one's bigger than that one.
And I don't think it's that close. I think it's closer to going in the first category than it is to being one of these other group of shots.
Isn't it fun? I mean, that Caleb Love, no matter what Caleb Love does, it will always be that shot.
And there won't ever be a time that anyone will ever remember. Remember when you had those couple of turnovers with about 6 minutes left, or you took those couple threes that didn't go in? Maybe that was a little early in the shot clock. None of that matters.
So Adam, and I know you feel this way because you and I have talked about it off the air. It feels like that's the game. And I think as time goes on, that will be the game. But it really wasn't the game.
No.
There was still a little bit that had to happen. Give Duke credit. They attacked hard after Love's 3. And Roach gets a layup to make it 78-76. So, I mean, it's a 2-point game.
They basically pulled the Luke May against Kentucky on the Tar Heels. Like, the Tar Heels were like, yeah, just like Kentucky was in that game. And meanwhile, Duke got the ball out of the basket, zoop, right down the court, to the point that Nance was giving it the shot of the night. And by the time he finished night, he has to go to this point as Jeremy Roach scores.
Yeah.
Big time delivery. The shot of the night to this point as Roach answers back with a quick 2.
But also, Adam, another point this brings up is that Duke, I would assume, would have loved to have called a timeout right there.
Yes.
After making that basket, because, I mean, it was everything, considering the circumstances, that they would have wanted. They scored really quickly. It's a one-possession game. They could have set up a press, but they didn't have a timeout. And so Carolina gets the ball in easily, without a challenge. Gets it into Love, who is who you want, either he or Davis with the ball, and he gets it and just holds it until I think Keels comes up and fouls him.
And remember, inbounding the ball hadn't exactly been Carolina's best strong suit.
Yeah, we've seen that. And, I mean, the press at times over the last 2 seasons, although when Davis and Love have both been in there, Carolina's been a lot better. I know the Baylor game has soured us all. But, I mean, it was no challenge in getting the ball into Love. He literally stood there and held it for a second until he got fouled.
It was shocking to me watching this back and comparing how I felt about the Love 3 to that ended the game to when Roach went down and scored. Rewatching the game, I was like, ooh, we might be in trouble here. We got to hit some free throws.
So this is a 1-1, and Love only goes 1-2. He makes the first, but it's 79-76. And, Adam, I don't know if this is what he said. I really think Krzyzewski said, if he misses it, go to the basket. They showed him briefly on camera, and he kind of does that thing with his arm. You know how coaches do it where it's like they got the fist and, go to the basket.
Right.
I think that's what he said to his group. Because, I mean, you're there with enough time that you don't have to have the 3. You're down 3 and ends up with Keels, has a look for 3, but doesn't take it from the right wing. Instead, he drives and is fouled by Puff Johnson, called on the floor. Keels makes the layup, but the foul called on the floor. So, Adam, a couple of questions. One, did you think the foul was on the floor? I do, just to let you know. And 2, do you think Puff Johnson fouled on purpose in this sequence?
Number 1, I will give you my opinion. And number 2, I will give you what Puff said.
Yeah.
Number 1, I do think it was on the floor.
It was close.
If the roles had been reversed and that had been the Tar Heels, I would have felt like that was a 3-point play.
I mean, it was very, very close.
Asked Puff about the foul, and he said what happened was, number 1, he knew Keels was not a great free throw shooter. I think he's about
68%. Yeah. And he finished this game 1 of 3 at the free throw line, and that was the other miss was that big one. Remember when we talked about where he had that 3-point play opportunity and missed the free throw, which could have given a little more momentum to Duke. So a couple of big misses. Duke in total, Banchero 1 of 2, Williams 0 of 2, Keels here goes 1 of 2, big misses.
So Puff knew that Keels was not great at the line and that was preferable to him dunking it. The other thing he said that I hadn't thought of was that he said in the most recent timeout, Hubert Davis had really gotten on the Tar Heels about overhelping on defense. And so he said that once Keels got past him, he knew there was going to be no one there because the coach had just told them not to do that. And so he thought, well, if he gets past me, I'm going to foul him because I'd rather foul him. I've got plenty of fouls to give. I'd rather put him at the line than him get a dunk. So essentially, yes, I do think he fouled him on purpose. I think if he had to do it over again, he might make it a little more clear that it was on the floor.
Maybe not close out quite as hard on that 3-point shot.
Right. But in a 3-point game.
Yeah, you're going to close out hard, yeah.
So bottom line, though, I think it's a savvy play. I mean, if he doesn't foul him, Keels dunks that or lays it up or whatever and gets 2 points.
Yeah.
And instead, as we'll find out, he got 1.
Yeah. So this comes with 10.4 seconds to go. Keels makes the first, misses the second. Puff Johnson with a really good box out on Banchero. This is that rebound that bounced for a second, and then Love was able to pick it up off the floor and get fouled again.
Second one for Keels. No. Rebound, Love. And Love is fouled by Rhodes with 7.8 to play. 2 shots for Love, as that's 10 on Duke. Love just went 1 of 2 a moment ago. 79-77. 2 shots for Love. Boy, that rebound bounced perilously for a moment.
Something about that box out. There's a stretch in the first half when Banchero's like doing his Banchero thing and driving past everybody. And I think it was Rafferty says, well, how can you ever stop somebody when they want to play that way? When he's that big and that aggressive. Well, you know who stopped him? Puff Johnson.
Yeah.
Who's not as big as him and doesn't weigh as much as him. And if he had wanted that rebound as much as he wanted that dunk in the first half, it might have been different. But Puff Johnson's willing to put his nose in there and keep him away from the ball and let it bounce rather than Banchero getting it, which, I mean, it's a plausible outcome that Banchero gets that rebound.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and even the more three-pointer that we talked about, that was on an offensive rebound where Banchero had been able to get it from behind Bacot. So, I mean.
Right, over Bacot.
Yeah.
He didn't get this one over Puff.
Yeah. I mean, both teams, we mentioned Carolina's offensive rebounding numbers. I mean, Duke had 15 of them for 17 second-chance points. So both teams very effective in that way. So big-time play here by Puff Johnson. Again, just some, like he jumps up every now and then with these key plays. That allows Love to get the rebound, and he's fouled. Originally it says 7.8 on the clock. They change it to 8.2. He makes the first free throw at him, and then Carolina takes a timeout, to which there was a decent amount of discussion about it on the broadcast, mostly by Rafferty, thinking that you're icing your free throw shooter. Hubert Davis was asked about it in the press session before the Kansas game, and I don't know if it was specifically about calling that timeout, but remember he talked about how there was a JV game one time where it was a similar situation, and he didn't feel like he had gotten his guys in the right, or that he didn't feel like they were clear enough on what he wanted to do defensively if the shot didn't go in, and so he wanted to talk to them about that, and so he took that timeout.
I also think he knows there's a big difference in icing Caleb Love,
right,
or icing pretty much any other human being on the planet. I just don't think that affects Caleb Love. He might make it or miss it, but it's not going to be because he somehow felt like it was a really pressure shot. He doesn't feel that. Like, we've established that. So I think it'd be interesting to see, had it been, Puff Johnson at the free throw line, do you play it that same way? I don't know.
I'm sure we've said this at some point during the year. What an incredible luxury it is to have two guards back there who can both handle the ball, and you feel like they're both going to make the free throw. I mean, they're both 80% plus free throw shooters.
Well, we've seen in recent years the struggles of not being a great free throw shooting team and not having that one guy you can get the ball to who you feel like you're going to get points.
Yeah.
And Carolina had two on this team in the backcourt that you always felt good about.
So, of course, Love makes the second, 81-77. A couple things. You got Nance with the disappointment of giving Duke's free throw percentage. He was like it was like he was personally disappointed in Duke's free throw percentage.
Duke for the night, only 60% at the line, 12 out of 20.
Then Nance goes,
will this be the last time Coach K ever huddles with his team?
Spoiler, yes. Keels goes down, misses the three. Were you surprised they didn't foul?
Yes.
I was too. I remember being surprised when it happened, and R.J. Davis gets the rebound. I mean, obviously the chances were low, but he gets the rebound. If you foul, there's still probably 3-4 seconds left. I mean, again, really low chances, but if he goes 1 and 2 at the line and you hit a quick three, I mean, it's not impossible, but they elected not to foul.
I appreciated that they didn't foul. I don't know that I could have taken much more.
Keels. Racing. Pull up. Three. No good. Rebound. Carolina. And the fairy tale ride for the Tar Heels continues. And Coach K's legendary career has come to a close.
Bounce goes to Keels. 7.5. Keels forces up a three. No. Rebound. Davis. 2 seconds. 1 second. Ding dong. Duke is done. Carolina is going to go to the national championship. Duke's season is over. And they retire Mike Krzyzewski. Guys, it just doesn't get any sweeter than that.
How you like them apples?
I freaking love them. $81-77. They did it.
So then, of course, Tar Heels celebrate. And Adam, you and I have talked about this before. A surreal couple of minutes there, where just the fans are absolutely, Tar Heel fans are absolutely delirious. The team it's as big a celebration as I can ever remember for a non-championship win. Remember, we were seated right in front of a lot of the Carolina fan section, like a lot of family members and staff members, things like that. And so a lot of the guys were over there cheering right in front. We're like trying to get them on the radio and can't get them on there. And I didn't realize that until watching the TV copy that Mike Krzyzewski and Hubert Davis shake hands. And maybe a couple of assistants were there, but then the team was celebrating. So then I give Mike Krzyzewski credit, waited for Carolina's players to then come over there, and then he did shake hands with all of them after they were done celebrating. A rare, Adam, #SoClassy moment.
Well, and I will say, I know some people got mad that some of the Duke players didn't stay and shake hands. That doesn't really bother me at all. I mean, would I rather the Duke players have shaken Carolina's hand or Carolina got to celebrate the way they did?
Right. If Carolina was lined up and Duke just turned around and said,
right,
forget you and walk off the court, that's one thing.
Right.
But the Tar Heels were over there celebrating, and
your season just ended.
Right. And Wendell Moore did, I think, and maybe a couple of them did. And so, but yeah, I mean, I find that hard considering the circumstances and the fact that Carolina was celebrating, which it should have been doing. I just find that hard to get all riled up about that.
I kind of think Duke not fouling after the RJ rebound kind of led to the emotionalness of the celebration.
You had a couple seconds.
There was no time to prepare.
Yeah.
Like if they had fouled, you would have had time to think as he was going to the free throw line, they're going to do it.
Yeah, you just had a couple seconds.
But it was like you went from, I just don't know if they can do it. What if something happens to? They are going to do it right now. It is happening right this second.
Quick update on the Coach K and Hubert Davis cam. Second half, Adam, unofficial tally. I've got K at 20, Hubert Davis at 13.
So 32-20 overall?
32-20 overall. Unofficial tally.
I would have expected a wider gap, I'll be honest. Does Mickey count in the 32?
I did not count her in my 32.
Okay.
Adam, you get the – I mean, this is just pure Tar Heel, like, basketball erotica here, where Hubert Davis is, emotional, talking about how important this is for his team and his guys, and you got Mike Krzyzewski walking with Mickey back through the tunnel. You got some sad Blue Devil players. I mean, I'm not saying that should make you happy as a person. I'm just saying that if you love the Tar Heels, it was quite a visual.
Yes, and I was sorry we didn't get to see on this copy the clip of Kenny Smith celebrating Caleb Love's three, like where he's like in the middle of the Tar Heel student section somehow. I don't really understand how that all took place.
Oh, just think of these two worlds that are colliding here for Adam. Kenny Smith Caleb Love's 3.
But that's a great clip that kind of spoke to the moment and just what it felt like in the building. And the other thing that you don't get on this is people didn't leave.
No. Yeah, we
Carolina
talked
section.
about it. Yeah, they did not leave.
They didn't leave until the ushers made them.
Yes. Oh, yes. It was. I don't even know what to compare it to other than winning a national championship. That type of like elation after the game, where you don't go anywhere because there's nowhere else to go because there's nowhere else you would want to be. And I think that's just the feeling everybody had. They wanted to share it. They never wanted to leave that moment, and they wanted to share it with everybody else.
Yeah, I think the only time I've ever been in a crowd where like they weren't going to go unless they were forcibly told to do so was after the Cubs won the World Series in 2016 in Cleveland. And the Cleveland ushers were like, okay, guys, it's time to leave. It was pouring down rain. That's what this felt like. I mean, they were never going to go. If the ushers had never said anything, they'd still be there right now because why would you go anywhere else? It won't get any better than where you are right then.
Adam, looking back, I mean, just as intense as and we've told some stories about it, how like, what was it, Eric's, and you've mentioned this on the podcast before, Eric at one of the commercials, like, or coming back from break is like, oh, could you want it any other way? It's like, yes, I would want it some other way. This is awful.
I don't want it anyway like this at all. This is the worst case scenario. I want 20 points on the Tar Heel side.
It was this odd balance the entire game of like intensity, just like dread, excitement. I think it is the most intense game that I have ever seen in person.
Yes, not close. I mean, I remember thinking when they finally threw the ball up to start the game, I thought, well, finally, we're playing. But then as soon as that happened, I thought, oh, no, we're playing. And like every trip down the court was just excruciating. And I think that also is what is going to get lost as we go through history. And this will be remembered as like some great day in Tar Heel history. It wasn't until the game was over.
Yeah.
Prior to that, it was people were taking pictures with the Easter Bunny just to try to create mojo.
Yeah.
It was excruciating. But if you didn't live through it and you're like future Jones and Adam and just watch the YouTube videos, it'll look like a lot of fun. It wasn't fun until the end. Then it was fun.
Just before we wrap up, great stuff from Hubert Davis. I thought particularly it's a beautiful day for Carolina basketball or whatever, and then talked about how he felt like Carolina had not been relevant enough. Stuff that we've heard him say, but all, I think, stuff he believes in, good stuff.
You know, I felt like over the last 2 or 3 years, North Carolina wasn't relevant. North Carolina should never be irrelevant. It should be front and center with the spotlight on them, on players like Caleb and RJ. And I just, I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy for our program, our university. It's a beautiful day for Carolina basketball.
A tip of the cap to Caleb Love. I thought he did a good job, and in fact, even had like a relatively a nugget about Kansas that was relevant of how good they were in transition, which unfortunately hurt Carolina in the first 10 minutes of that second half of the championship game. But he did a good job in a very emotional moment right after the game, too, there with Tracy Wolfson. That's like the last thing you see on the version that you and I watched. But, Adam, what a game.
I thought it was so interesting watching Hubert Davis be interviewed by Tracy Wolfson, and Caleb Love walks up kind of beside him and puts his arm around him. And you see Hubert Davis has no idea who it is, and he kind of gives it the, and then he like turns and sees that it's Caleb, and he's like, Caleb Love, I'm very excited to see him. But he was still so locked in that like he didn't even know who had his arm around him.
Yeah, I think his first answer was like, I don't know. I haven't had a chance to think about it yet.
If you had the choice between watching this game or the 2009 National Championship game, which game would you watch?
This game.
Me too. What about this game or 17?
That gets a little closer because that was a good ball game. At least the closeness of that. I mean, the 2009 game was over by halftime. I don't know, Adam. I might still pick this game.
It's just so satisfying.
This is closer. This is a closer decision.
Yeah, I agree with that. But those are the only game. Well, I mean, we talked about this before this game. Would this game take away what happened in Cameron? Do you feel like now, after the fact that Carolina won, has it taken away anything from the game in Cameron to you?
No. I think it's the win in Cameron was so much more about all the hype leading up to the game, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
That's what made that one. And as we talked about, I think Mike Krzyzewski tried to distance himself from that after that game because I think he saw that it was hurting his team. This one was much more. I mean, Adam, the first time they ever met, it's in the Final Four. It retires Mike Krzyzewski. Like, it's just this incredible sequence of things that make it live on its own of this unbelievable thing that happened. I don't think it diminishes or makes me think any less fondly of that game in Cameron. Maybe we'll have a chance to rewatch that one sometime.
Maybe so.
It doesn't make me think any less fondly about that one. And, Adam, like, you're going to hang a banner for the Final Four, but think about that. Duke looks at that banner. Of course you're proud you went to the Final Four, but there's always going to be that little piece in the back of your mind that goes, oh, yeah, that was the Final Four. We lost to the Tar Heels, and they retired Mike Krzyzewski.
It's hanging there in your building.
Yeah.
Forever. You're going to have to look at that and think about it.
Yeah.
Every single time. I do think you probably have to be a Tar Heel to understand the nuances of the difference between the two. Like, I think Johnny basketball fan is like, well, that Final Four game's a lot bigger than the game at Cameron. But if you're a Carolina person, I think you understand what Jones just said, that the one in Cameron was like to set the world right.
It was like, that one was like personal.
Yeah, that was to kind of teach them a lesson. Like, you can't act this way.
Right.
That's not how it's supposed to be. And then the Final Four one was about basketball.
Yeah.
And the universe. And just making the universe whole. And that's what happened. And I feel like normal people may not understand that, but I think Carolina people do.
Well, Adam, I've watched it twice since it happened, and I enjoyed it both times.
I fell asleep watching that night, not until like 4 or 5 in the morning.
I don't think I went to bed. There's no way I fell asleep before 5, and I was up at 6:30 or 7.
They had posted the last 3 minutes or something on YouTube on the March Madness thing, and I fell asleep watching that. Like, I ran it back so many times and just kept watching it, and finally it was like my little bedtime story. Like, Adam, then Caleb Love came down the court and took a ball screen from Leaky Black. Then the big bad giant got a dagger in his face. Oh, okay, I'm going to sleep now.
Oh, baby.
When they posted the whole thing, like, I was checking every morning because I could. I had determined they were posting a new round of games every morning, but then they took a break and posted like some individual highlights on one morning. I was like, I don't want this. I'm due the Carolina Duke Final Four game, and when it went up, I was on that like a barracuda.
And when Adam started watching it, it went from views 0 to views 1. All right. Well, Adam, I feel like we can only let the what's that nickname for those 5 starters? Who came up with that?
The Steel 5. I got one more question.
Okay.
Just as we were talking about this, can you think of any other game that just gives you as much pleasure as this game? Like, just outright thinking about it makes you happy.
There are 2. But not as much. But they still 0-5, the Marvin Williams shot. Because as we talked about, Duke had been so dominant in the series for a couple of years. Not that Carolina didn't win any games, because they did have a few, and Carolina had been through so many difficult times there over those couple of seasons, and to get that win and then obviously we know what happened afterwards.
Well, and I think that celebration was about
similar.
As close as you'll see
I
with
agree.
this one.
I agree. And Adam, you may not feel this way. I think the 17 game against Kentucky in the round of 8 is close. That wasn't Duke, but it was that opponent was so good. They had beaten Carolina earlier in the year in a great game. the Tar Heels almost let it slip through their hands when it felt like had the game in their grasp in the final couple of seconds and then almost lost it. And to have it be such an unexpected person at the time in Luke May, that's the only one that I can really think of that it was just absolute pure elation after the game was over.
I do think there's something to who it was. Like, that was Luke May. That was us doing that to those big old guys who thought they were hot stuff. I mean, which is very much what this one felt like.
They've got that team had De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk and Bam Adebayo. I mean, that was an incredible team. And Luke May hit the jump shot to win it. So those are just the first two that came to my mind of games that anytime I think back on them, I get happy.
I hope this happiness never fades. Like, I hope in 10 years I'm not so jaded that I'm like, well, I mean, that really opened the door to all that NIL stuff that we had to deal with in college sport. Like, if I ever say that, somebody smack me in the face. This needs to all be about just pure joy of that moment, because it was incredible.
All right. We're going to let the 5 starters and Hubert Davis get us out of here. Thanks for joining us. Latest edition of the Carolina Insider.
I'm Armando Baycott. See you later, Big Grits.
This is Leaky Black. See you later, Big Grits.
I'm RJ Davis. See you later, Big Grits.
I'm Caleb Love. See you later, Big Grits.
I'm Brady Manick. See you later, Big Grits.
I'm Hubert Davis. See you later, Big Grits.
When I was small, we had nothing at all. We used to eat grits for dinner.
Pound box of sugar and a stick of margarine. A hot pot of grits kept my family from starving. Steamy hot meal served less than 5 minutes. Big silver pot, boiling water, salt in it. House full of brothers and sisters, the pot's missing. Pilgrim on the box, on the stove in the kitchen.
When I was small, we had nothing at all. We used to eat grits for dinner.
See you later, Big Green.
The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the Tar Heel Sports Network.